Hey, it's Ryan here, and in this video, I want to walk you through my vegan diet plan for fast weight loss. I lost all the weight I wanted to years ago now, but this is precisely the game plan I'd follow if I was starting from scratch tomorrow. So you can go to school on my mistakes, and I've built into this meal plan many of the things that I've learned about vegan nutrition over the last 10 years or so. And you can quite clearly see it's pretty obvious. We're not in my kitchen for this one, none of this fancy stuff. Oh, this is how I prepare my beans. Like there's enough of that recipe content on the internet. I didn't want this video to be about that. I wanted this to be far more informative. So first key philosophy, fast weight loss isn't worth it if you gain it back. What's the point? You can have the fastest weight loss in the world. If you're going to go flying back up the scale, is it really worth bragging about, caring about, worrying about your weight loss being really, really fast, right? I often say people overestimate how much weight they can lose in a month realistically, but underestimate how much they can actually lose in a year. I messed that one up, didn't I? The big punchline, I messed that one up. But you get the picture, right? Everyone's so short-term focused with this stuff. Instead, bullet number 2 here, focus on efficient weight loss. Efficient weight loss is fast weight loss without breaking things, without all of the mess, okay? You still want fast enough weight loss to keep you engaged, to keep you incentivized, to make you think that the hard work and the sacrifice is actually paying off. So you want some speed to this, but not so fast that it's an absolute mess, that you're obviously following a really extreme strategy for the weight loss to be that fast in the first place. And what's likely to happen? Crash and burn, fly back up the scale. You can't really sustain that extreme aggressive strategy. So efficient weight loss is what we're working towards. And I would suggest ultimately for most of us, that's going to look like 1 to 2 pounds per week, which is a bit of a ballpark. It's slightly vague, but ditch that impatience thinking. If you're losing like 3 or 4 pounds per week consistently, I'm not talking about a one-off. I'm not talking about that first week of your diet. We all know that's the exception. But if you're losing 3 or 4 pounds consistently, it might well be a sign that your strategy is simply too aggressive. Now, in order to achieve this, I love this idea of being like eating whole plant-based foods rather than just being vegan. Being vegan tells me what you don't eat, and for the record, I am an ethical vegan as well, but I'm also a ethical vegan that is focused on my health and fitness too. And so I want to eat lots of whole foods, right? There's a lot of vegan chocolate, cheese, vegan burgers, lots of the mock meats. It's product dependent, but most of these, let's be honest, they're so processed. The fiber removed, really high in calorie density, other fats and nasties and oils, and all sorts of chemicals and additives added. Not really that good for us, are they? So we're focusing primarily here on whole plant foods, and that's going to be an incredible way of getting us in that all important, calorie deficit that we know is required for weight loss. And that's the final point here. Weight loss works on a calorie deficit, regardless of which diet you follow. Newsflash, it doesn't matter if you're doing keto or carnivore, flexible dieting, if it fits your macros, vegan, raw vegan, starch solution, Ryan Adams slim and sustain approach, it doesn't actually matter. You need to be in a calorie deficit. That is the big deal breaker. There's lots of different ways to achieve a calorie deficit. I like my approach, but there are actually many ways to peel an orange. I'm going to walk you through mine today. 3 times meals. This meal plan is going to look like 3 times meals per day. So a standard breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 1 to 2 snacks in between. That's the method that I like to follow. It seems to be what's practical for most of the clients that I work with. And if you happen to care, this is a bit advanced. But for many of you, not to sound patronizing, but many people, they're not at this stage yet. They don't need to worry about this all so much. But if you are curious, the macronutrient breakdown here is roughly speaking high carb, moderate protein, low but not no fat diet. That's a really important distinction away from some of the more high carb strands. I follow a high carb diet myself, but the more extreme high carb diets under the plant-based umbrella, where any source of healthy fat, nuts, seeds, or overt, I should say, nuts, seeds, avocado, so on and so forth, tahini, these things are banned, right? That isn't my approach. I like a little bit of fat in the diet. I think it has many, many benefits. Third bullet here, there's no counting calories unless you actually have a reason to. Remember, the scale is feedback. If the scale is moving in the right direction at a sensible 1 to 2 pounds per rate per week, 1 to 2 pound loss, per week, then we know, all right, I'm onto a winning formula here. I'm certainly in a calorie deficit. So if you don't have a reason to count your calories, I argue that you don't necessarily need to. It can be useful at certain times, and we can talk about some of those later on. But for now, I'm going to say no counted calories to this particular plan. We're focused on practical, not pretentious meals, right? There are some amazing cookbooks out there, amazing recipes on the internet. Are they all that practical? Are they all that sustainable to eat day in, day out? They might be fancy stuff once in a while, fair enough. I don't want to seem like I'm a recipe basher. I think they have their place. But I've always been, as you can see on the final bullet here, I've always been someone that prefers like plate templates, meal plans, like bowl components than these elaborate fancy, even if they taste amazing, recipes that they take like an hour and 20 minutes in the kitchen to make. That's never going to last. I'm all about sustainability. I'm all about practicality. I'm all about what's realistic, because I've worked with over 500 vegans and plant-based dieters over the last half decade. This is something that is absolutely a deal breaker. You need simplicity or you ain't going to stick to this, in my opinion. So breakfast options, let's actually, enough dilly-dallying, right? Let's actually get into the heart of this. By the way, guys, it's 11 p.m. here, so that's probably why lighting is quite terrible here. I probably look around my eyes like it's 11 p.m., so bear with me here. But breakfast, I'm going to give you 3 options for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a couple more for snacks as well. So let's run through them very quickly here, but you can pause anytime, so I don't need to necessarily explain these too much. I suppose you can pause and take notes anytime. Oatmeal bowl, one of my favorites. That's actually what's pictured, by the way. You can't see the oats buried in all the goodies below all the other goodness, but let me walk you through it. Rolled oats, steel cut oats are fine as well. Rolled oats, berries of choice. Then I like, for our omegas, I like either walnuts, flax, chia. You can also add hemp. Hemp seeds are great as well. I just couldn't fit everything, all the bits of text on here. I just went with the ones that tend to be most popular. So walnuts, plus almond milk. I've single almond milk. Great, so you can great. There's milks that I use regularly, but this is a very weight loss focused video. And almond milk, as many of you know, is actually tends to be the lowest in caloric density out of all the plant milks. Again, brand dependent, but this seems to go across the spectrum. So almond milk here. And then if you want a little bit of a sweetener, you don't need too much. You don't want to be glugging loads of this stuff on, because you're going to add those calories up a little bit. The exception is stevia, 0 calorie, as many of you know, but stevia, a drop of brown sugar, perhaps a little drizzle of maple syrup, just to give a little bit of extra sweetness if you need it. Maybe you don't from the fruit, maybe it's sweet enough, but if a little drop of brown sugar, a drop of maple syrup is what it gets for you to make a healthy breakfast and enjoy a healthy breakfast rather than eating something really crap, excuse my language, that's so worth it for that little bit of added refined sugar there, I argue. Number 2, cereal bowls. Love these, right? Really filling options. So yes, you can eat cereal on a weight loss friendly diet, just the right kinds, right? I'm talking about bran flakes here. They have a low calorie density, high fiber content. They're not the same as Cocoa Pops. So bran flakes, a bit of sliced banana on there. Again, walnuts, flax, chia. You can see the template here, right? Almond milk, and then that little bit of sweetener to finish. Thirdly, I'll give you a bit more of something fancy, but it's not fancy, is it? It's still pretty simple, but something maybe that's more appropriate for weekends that you can throw together, something a little different. This is a really high protein option for you gym goers out there. This might be more useful to you. Some firm tofu, extra firm tofu will be fine as well, plus bell peppers, spinach, mushrooms. This is a lovely tofu scramble. Seasonings I like on mine. You can play with this. You can add turmeric as well. I haven't covered this here. That's a popular one, tofu scramble. But nooch, salt, paprika, hot sauce, salsa. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of whole wheat toast on this for carbohydrate source, maybe a little bit of extra avocado with it. But there's 3 really delicious breakfast options there. And again, you'll see here, especially as we go into the lunches, like simplicity. Like, I wasn't joking when I said practical, not pretentious. That's such a big MO for me. It's so part of my philosophy here after all my years, not only living this myself and knowing that it's really important to me, but then working with my clients, of course. Number 1, sandwiches. Again, yes, you can eat bread. Oh my goodness, you can eat bread. And this is where kind of my approach might differ slightly from other plant-based diet teachers. No disrespect to them. I just think some of those processed but still healthy carbohydrate sources, like some breads, cereals, bran flakes, pastas, noodles, etc., I think they still have a place on healthy and weight loss friendly diets. Some are better than others, and I also want you to use whole food alternatives. I want you to have other whole food carbohydrate sources, not just bread all the time, but I think these can certainly be part of a healthy, balanced, as I say, weight loss friendly diet. So sandwiches, 2 slices, rule of thumb here, whole wheat bread, hummus, half an avocado, any veggies you want, frankly, but just to give a couple of, sort of home winners, tomatoes, lettuce, cucumber, shredded carrot, maybe some sliced beet, etc. Cucumber, I think I said that already, etc., etc. Number 2, simple bowls. I love this formula because it's so versatile. Whole grain, so you could do quinoa, you could do barley, you could do brown rice. Options are endless, plus half a can of beans or an equivalent amount of tofu. That's probably going to look like maybe 150, 200 grams of tofu, depending on what you might need. We'll come to that because that's a bit of an elephant in the room as I'm walking about this stuff. Like, what about portion sizes, Ryan? You told me 2 slices of bread on the previous option, but you haven't given me portions for everything. We'll come to that because it's a really good question if that's what you're thinking. But yeah, so beans, tofu, loads of veg, right? And fat source of choice. So avocado, tahini, hummus, therefore the tahini and the hummus. And I'm going to give you my hummus recipe, so stay tuned on the next slide, actually, or a cashew-based sauce. Finally, number 3, another quick one to throw together. I love this one. If you're going to work, school, college, I like this one. If you're just on the go, tempeh wraps. So whole wheat tortilla plus tempeh strips, which I marinated in a little bit of maple syrup, soy sauce, and nutritional yeast, plus half an avocado chopped up in there. And again, veggies of choice, lettuce, bell pepper, cucumber, shredded carrot, just to give a couple of examples. So sandwiches and tempeh wraps, really, really simple. And the simple bowls are a little bit more complex, but if you've actually already got like the rice, the quinoa, some of the veggies prepared, again, it's another throw together thing. Simplicity. Let's get to our little tahini. This is my hot recipe, so I'm not going to talk you through this. Pause this, write this down, screenshot, take a photo of this on your phone as you're watching this video here. That's my hummus recipe. Delissimo, delissimo. Oil-free, of course, I should say. There's no oil in this program, if you've noticed. There's no oil mentioned so far. I just think, even though there's arguments, something like extra virgin olive oil is not as high in saturated fat, I still don't like oil. It's a calorie bomb. It doesn't come with many nutrients because of all that processing under heat, getting rid of so many nutrients. Don't like it, not a fan. Heavily linked to inflammation. Don't like cooking oils whatsoever. I still eat cooking oils, like when I go out to eat or I go around someone's house and they make something delicious for me, but never in my own kitchen. I don't think I've had oil in my kitchen for like 8, 9, 10 years, probably, in my own kitchen. It's when I go to someone else's house or a restaurant. Right, dinners, again, simplicity: burrito bowl, brown rice, half a can of black beans, sweet corn, love sweet corn, very low calorie as well, lettuce, red pepper, cucumber. Right, you catch the drift. I'm using lots of overlapping ingredients. That's by design as well, right? Because if your lunches often use, iceberg, sweet jam, romaine lettuce, cucumber, bell pepper, tomato, etc., like tomatoes, you can nicely between meals. You don't need this like ridiculously long, unrealistic shopping list. So that's part of the design as well. Like, we have lots of overlapping ingredients, you'll notice. So I love the burrito bowls, great option with a bit of hot sauce, a bit of salsa on there. Number 2, tofu stir fries. You guys know I love this. I've shared my recipe for this on my channel. You can search for this stuff in the past. Brown rice, firm tofu again, stir-fried veggies, soy sauce. There's different. I've got a slightly more complex, tasty dressing than just soy sauce, but we're keeping it really simple here. Just a bit of soy sauce. The magic ingredient for this one, though, taste-wise, is Chinese 5-spice. If you can find, I know it's not everywhere, but if you can find, you can even make it yourself because it's just composed of 5 spices, but clues in the name, right? But if you can find this stuff, it is absolutely amazing. So this brings this to life. Some sesame seeds as well for a little bit of healthy fat, just a little teaspoon of sesame seeds there. Finally, this might actually be more conventional as a lunch option, but I've thrown it in here because I had another lunch option in mind for this. I think it's the tempeh wraps, yeah, so I've kind of switched things around. But loaded salad, so quinoa, chickpeas, romaine lettuce. Again, I've shared a recipe for this on my channel from about a year ago, so go and search for that. In fact, it's the same one, I think, where I walk you through a tofu stir-fry recipe. You know what? I'll save you guys the trouble. I'll just link it down below. That makes more sense, much easier for you guys. Rocket arugula, some salad veg. You know what that means. Again, cucumber, lettuce, shredded carrot. You can get creative with it. Red cabbage, that's what I love about like the bowls I shared. Where are they? Let me see here. The simple bowls, number 2 here, and the loaded salad. Like, you can mix it up, change it up. You don't have to use chickpeas. You could use another bean. I just think chickpeas work best in salad, so that's why I've mentioned it here. But you can change the types of veggie, etc., or the fat source. You get what I mean? So, like, they are like some of these things, the simple bowls especially, they're like 10 recipes in one because of all the different whole grain bean, fat source, veggie combinations you can have. Does that make sense? You could do fermented veggies, some sauerkraut, some kimchi. That brings it to life in a different way. And then, of course, to finish here on top of our veggies, we've got creamy tahini or cashew-based dressing, like lovely tahini dressing. I haven't written this in for you, but this is simple. This is what many of my clients use, giving away all the secrets here. But bit of tahini, equal parts tahini, water, and lemon juice. So you take a tablespoon or 2 of tahini, mix that with a tablespoon or 2 of water. Same again with lemon juice. Like, that's so simple. There's more you can add to it to make it more flamboyant, and that will be more tasty, admittedly. But I'm trying to give you guys really simple, workable, actionable stuff to throw together here. Snacks, then on to the snacks. Finally, I have 1 to 2 of these. I would be having 1 to 2 of these per day. Fresh fruit, oil, and fruit, by the way. I miss Thai fruit so much, right? I've been back 2 weeks. I'm already pale as a ghost, aren't I? Back in this lovely British weather in December. But fresh fruit, low in calorie density, high volume for very low calories because of the water content, because of the fiber content. It takes a lot of fruit to get yourself into a calorie surplus. It's not to say you can eat as much fruit as you want. That is really bad advice if you take that literally. But you can eat quite a lot of fruit and still keep your calories really nicely in check. So it's an amazing snack. Bottom line is what I'm trying to say. As is actually, surprisingly, popcorn, but oil and butter free. That's the catch. Oil and butter free popcorn with maybe stevia, some salt. If you want to do savory, you can do like salt, some nutritional yeast, paprika. Bit fancy, get a bit creative with it. Number 3, rice, corn cakes, hummus with some sliced cucumber. Number 4, salted boiled edamame. Just take out the shell, put a little salt on, amazing sea salt. And 5, I wanted to give you guys something on the go, quite convenient. Like Lara bars are pretty calorific. Naked bars, if you're in the UK, less so. But I wanted to give you guys an option for when you're out in a pinch. What can I grab? What can I grab? Like a Lara or a Naked bar. So easy. Like dried fruit. Lara bars are largely dried fruit and nuts. Like these are not that smart snack option because they're very healthy, but they're very high in calories. So this is not something I would want you guys to be reliant on, is what I would say. Like I let my clients eat these, but if a client is like starting to text me like, Ryan, I'm having a Lara bar every day, I might be like, well, that's 220, 230 calories we're using for a Lara bar each day. Like we can make that work. We can build that into your diet. But think about 220 calories worth of fresh fruit. It's going to be a much greater volume. It might satisfy you much more than the Lara or the Naked bar, but it is a really good sort of grab and go option. And that's it. Again, simplicity. I'm going to keep emphasizing that, drill that buzzword home, but it's a really basic plan, practical, but not pretentious. Now you need to monitor it. Now you need to make sure it actually works. I've given you the formula. How are you going to do that? Well, I suggest that you weigh yourself 3 times per week. And keep in mind, the scale is a feedback system, right? It informs you directly if you have a good plan or not. If you're losing weight, okay, I'm in a calorie deficit. If I'm gaining weight or I'm not losing weight, oh, there might be something wrong here. If you're not losing weight, plan to reduce your calories ever so slightly, just ever so slightly. People like siphon off loads of calories from the diet, start doing a juice fast or some crazy detox thing, start going to the gym and do spinning classes every night where they burn 500 calories. Like that stuff is way too aggressive. Bullet number 3, I mentioned I'd come back to this. I can't advise on portion sizes, frankly, because they are relative and they need personalization to the individual, right? And that's a benefit of working with me one-on-one. I'm not just trying to sell you stuff. I'm just being honest. Like I would feel very uncomfortable. It would be really ill-advised of me to sit here and give you advice on portion sizes when maybe 500, 1,000, 1,500 people are eventually going to watch this video, and for me to just give like a one-size-fits-all portion size, that is absolutely ludicrous. I cannot in good conscience do that as a coach. So just use this as a framework. You will need to pivot and adjust, but again, scale is feedback. Other little tips here, the obvious stuff, but I've got to throw it in here. It's a bit cliche. Plenty of water, sleep 7 to 9 hours per night. Don't sweat the occasional meal out. Just make sure you get back on plan from that next meal, of course. Now, if you do need more help, you can hire me as your personal coach, and I will eliminate all the guesswork, tell you exactly what and how much to eat. I can finally give you clarity on those portion sizes. I'll tell you exactly what to do for exercise, show you how to do it, and I'll hold your hand accountable every step of the way so that you can actually guarantee that you stick to it this time. Because everyone can start a new diet. Can they actually stick to it? That's the question. Stick to it long enough to actually get consistent results anyway. So if you're interested, you'd like to hear more about what it looks like to work together on Slim and Sustain, click the link in the description box that will be down below this video. And you can watch the video there where I introduce the program to learn a little bit more about this whole Slim and Sustain philosophy that I've referred to throughout this video, and the game plan that I've coached over 500 men and women over the past 5 or so years running this program. And it's worth saying too, I do only enroll 3 clients per week because everything I do is highly personalized. So there's only limited spots. I did actually used to take, if you remember, if you've been following me for a while, 5 clients every week or up to 5 clients every week, but I've just reduced it because frankly, to be honest, I want to work a little bit less, but I want this to be really personalized, give my clients as much one-on-one support as I can. I'm looking for people who want to crush it right now. Okay, it's the turn of the year coming soon. It's nearly 2025. When else are you going to do this? Right, let's capitalize on that sort of new fresh year motivation. I'm not a big January resolutions guy, but let's capitalize on any motivation you've got right now. And I'm looking for people who are committed and ready to jump in right now, ready to take action. People who don't just want to lose weight. This is an important point as well, but also want to build healthy habits. And find a way to eat for their rest, of their lives. Because that's my whole Slim and Sustain thing, right? There are no shortcuts, there's no quick fixes, there's no magic pills and potions like a Zempic, right? I'm in the business of permanent solutions. And if you resonate with me, that's why you're here as well, Slim and Sustain. Again, going back to what I said at the start, there's no point having fast weight loss if you're just going to fly back up the scale. We want this to actually be permanent. So if you're interested, learning more about Slim and Sustain, working with me, click the link in the description box down below, watch the video there, and fill out the form for more info. Chat soon.